Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to listen carefully because I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear. I'm here to tell you the truth that every successful person, every person who has achieved greatness in their lives will tell you. And it's this: the road to success is not easy. It's not quick. It's not always fair. But I'm here to tell you one thing, and one thing only: do not give up. You see, life will test you. It will push you to the limits. It will throw obstacles in your path, sometimes for reasons you'll never understand. There will be times when you feel like you've given it all you have, only to find yourself knocked down once again. But it's in those moments, in those darkest moments, that your true strength is revealed. When you feel like giving up, when you feel like you're at the end of your rope, that's when you have to dig deep. There's no magic formula for success, no easy way to get to where you want to be. But I'll tell you this: nothing worth having comes easy. The world is full of people who have dreams, big dreams, dreams that are worthy of being chased. But too many people give up before they even have a chance to see those dreams come to life. They quit because the road gets hard. They quit because the pressure is too much. They quit because they think they're not good enough, but the truth is they give up too soon. And that's the difference between those who make it and those who don't. There are going to be days when you don't feel like getting up, when you don't feel like pushing forward, when you wonder if it's all worth it, when you look around and everyone else seems to be doing better, succeeding while you're still struggling. But let me tell you something: don't compare your journey to anyone else's. Your journey is yours alone, and it's a journey that you have to take one step at a time, no matter how small those steps may seem. The key to success is persistence. The key is showing up day in and day out, even when you don't feel like it. There's a saying: success is not final, failure is not fatal. It's the courage to continue that counts. That courage, that determination is what separates the winners from the rest. And I'm not talking about winning in the traditional sense. I'm talking about winning at life. Winning by not giving up. Winning by refusing to let circumstances define you. Winning by choosing to keep moving forward, no matter how hard the battle gets. I want you to think about this for a moment. Every single successful person you look up to, every person who has made something of themselves, they've been knocked down. They've faced failure. They've had moments where they thought they couldn't go on, but they didn't give up. They kept going one step at a time, and that's how they made it. They understood that setbacks are just setups for comebacks. But here's the thing about setbacks: they don't last forever unless you let them. And they don't define you unless you let them. We all go through difficult times. We all face challenges, but it's how you respond to those challenges that matters. It's how you react when things aren't going your way that will determine how far you go in life. Let's talk about failure for a minute. I know it's a word that scares a lot of people. It's a word that makes people want to turn and run in the opposite direction. But let me tell you something: failure is not the enemy. It's part of the process. Failure is simply an opportunity to learn, to grow, to improve. If you've never failed, if you've never had a setback, you've never tried anything truly challenging. You've never pushed yourself beyond your comfort zone. Failure is not a sign that you're weak. It's a sign that you're trying. It's a sign that you're stepping out of the comfort zone and into the unknown. And that's where growth happens. Growth happens when you fail and then get back up. Growth happens when you refuse to let failure be the final word. Growth happens when you look at every mistake, every misstep, and say, that's not the end of the story. I'm not done yet. And it's that attitude, that resilience that will carry you through. It's what will make you stronger, wiser, and better equipped for the journey ahead. There's also a lot of pressure in this world to be perfect, to have it all together, to never make mistakes. But let me tell you something else: perfection is a myth. Perfection is an illusion that will only hold you back. Perfection will make you afraid to take risks, afraid to step out of your comfort zone. Perfection will make you freeze, paralyze you with the fear of making the wrong move. But the truth is, the most successful people aren't perfect. They're not flawless. They're people who've made mistakes, who've failed, who've fallen short, but they've never given up. I want you to remember this: failure is not the end of the road. It's a lesson. It's a stepping stone. Every time you fail, you get a little bit better. You learn a little bit more about yourself. You discover what works and what doesn't. You figure out what your strengths are and where you need to improve. And that's how you build success. You build it one lesson at a time, one failure at a time, and one victory at a time. Now, let's talk about the power of belief. If you want to make it, you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in your vision, your goals, your purpose. If you don't believe in yourself, no one else will. You can't rely on the opinions of others to define your worth. You can't depend on external validation to fuel your ambition. You have to believe even when no one else does. You have to keep moving forward with the conviction that your dreams are worth pursuing, even if you don't have all the answers right now. There are going to be people who doubt you. There are going to be people who tell you it's impossible. There are going to be people who tell you that you're wasting your time. But remember this, people who doubt you are not your concern. Your concern is your vision, your goals, and your commitment to the journey. You've got to block out the noise and stay focused on what you achieve. And when you face those doubts, when the world tells you it's not going to happen, that's when you have to be even more determined. That's when you have to dig in and say, I know what I'm capable of. I know where I'm headed, and nothing is going to stop me. Now, I want you to think about the sacrifices. Yes, there will be sacrifices. Success demands sacrifice. You can't expect to achieve your goals without giving something up. Maybe it's your time, maybe it's comfort, maybe it's the way you've been living up until now. But let me tell you, there is no success without sacrifice. If you want to get to the next level, if you want to go where you've never gone before, you have to be willing to leave behind what's familiar, what's comfortable. You have to be willing to stretch yourself, to push beyond what you thought was possible. That's how you grow. That's how you succeed. And along the way, there will be moments when you question yourself. There will be moments when you wonder if you're on the right path, when you question whether it's all worth it. But let me tell you something, those moments of doubt are part of the process. It's part of being human. It's okay to have those thoughts. What matters is what you do with them. Don't let doubt stop you. Don't let fear hold you back. Keep going. Keep moving forward even when the road is unclear. Even when the answers aren't obvious. Keep believing, keep pushing, keep striving. That's how you'll make it. You are stronger than you know. You have more power within you than you realize. And I promise you, you are capable of more than you think. The question is, will you give up when it gets hard, or will you keep going? Will you throw in the towel when things don't go as planned, or will you get up, dust yourself off, and keep fighting for what you want? The choice is yours. So I'm telling you now, do not give up. Keep going. Stay focused. Believe in yourself. And when you fall, get up. When you fail, get up. When it seems impossible, get up. Because that's how winners are made. And I'm here to tell you, you can be a winner. You can achieve your dreams. You can reach the places you've always wanted to go, but only if you refuse to give up. So don't give up. Never give up. Keep going, because success is waiting for you on the other side. Success is built on persistence. No matter how difficult the journey or how many times you fail, it's the ability to keep going day after day that separates those who achieve their goals from those who give up. Failure is not the end of the road. It's an essential part of the process. Each failure is a lesson, an opportunity to learn, grow, and come back stronger. Never fear failure. Embrace it as a way to improve. Self-belief is crucial. If you don't believe in your own potential and vision, no one else will. Stay focused on your goals, block out the doubt and negativity from others, and trust in your ability to succeed. Success requires sacrifice. Whether it's time, comfort, or something else, you must be willing to give up something in the short term to achieve your long-term goals. Growth happens when you step outside your comfort zone. Doubt and fear will come, but they should never stop you. Every successful person has faced moments of uncertainty and challenge. The key is to keep pushing forward, no matter how tough the road gets, and not to let setbacks define your future. Persistence is often seen as the unsung hero of success, a quality that separates those who reach their goals from those who give up when faced with adversity. But what exactly does persistence mean? It's more than just keeping your head down and pushing through. It's about having the resolve to continue even when the odds seem stacked against you. It's the ability to rise after you've fallen, to stay committed even when the path ahead is unclear, to keep moving forward when the world around you seems to be telling you to stop. Think about the people who inspire you most, whether they're athletes, artists, entrepreneurs, or leaders. What do they all have in common? They didn't get where they are by taking the easy road or by quitting at the first sign of trouble. They got there because they didn't stop. Every great success story has moments of struggle, times when quitting felt like the easiest option. But the difference between those who succeed and those who don't lies in their ability to keep going when things get tough. It's not the absence of failure that makes someone successful, it's how they respond to failure that counts. The key to persistence is recognizing that setbacks are not permanent, even when they feel like they are. When you're chasing your dreams, there will be days when things don't go as planned. You'll hit roadblocks, you'll face rejection, and you'll question whether you're on the right path. But the people who make it to the other side are the ones who understand that failure is just a part of the process. Failure is not an indication that you aren't good enough. It's simply a sign that you need to adjust your approach, learn, and try again. Think about the process of learning to walk. No one expects a baby to take their first steps and start running immediately. Instead, they fall over and over again. But with each fall, they learn how to balance, how to stand, and eventually how to walk. That persistence, that refusal to stay down, is what makes walking possible. In many ways, the journey to success is the same. It's about learning from the falls, getting back up, and continuing on. And yet, so many people give up too soon. They face their first big challenge and think this is too hard. They feel the weight of the struggle and assume that it's a sign they're not cut out for success. But here's the truth: if you can't persevere through the hard times, you'll never know what you're truly capable of. Persistence is about pushing through the discomfort, the frustration, and the doubt. It's about trusting that if you keep moving, even at a slow pace, you'll eventually get there. One of the most important aspects of persistence is having a clear vision of your end goal. When you know where you want to go and why you want to get there, you find the motivation to keep moving, even on the toughest days. That vision becomes the anchor that holds you steady when the storm of uncertainty tries to knock you off course. Without a vision, you'll be like a ship without a rudder, drifting aimlessly. But with a vision, you have direction. You have purpose. You have something worth fighting for. Persistence also requires patience. Success rarely happens overnight. It's not something you can rush, nor is it something that can be achieved through shortcuts. If you want to build something meaningful, something that lasts, you have to put in the time and the effort. And that means being willing to grind through the long hours, the setbacks, and the failures. It means understanding that the road will be difficult, but also knowing that every step forward, no matter how small, brings you closer to your goal. Even if progress seems slow, every day that you continue to push is a victory in itself. Along the way, you will encounter people who try to discourage you, people who tell you it can't be done, or people who simply don't believe in your vision. These voices of doubt will come from all directions. They may come from friends, family, colleagues, or even from within yourself. The voices inside your own head might be the loudest. The ones that tell you that you're not good enough, that you're not smart enough, or that you'll never make it. But here's the key: those voices don't determine your future. The only voice that matters is the one inside you, the voice that says, I can do this. I will not give up. You must trust in your own abilities, your own resilience, and your own determination. Others may not always see your vision, but you don't need their approval to succeed. What you need is belief in yourself and the perseverance to keep going, even when no one else believes. Persistence also involves a certain level of self-discipline. It's not enough to have the desire to succeed. You must also be willing to do the work, day in and day out, even when you're tired or when things don't go as planned. This is where many people falter. They start strong with enthusiasm and passion, but when the initial excitement fades, they struggle to maintain momentum. But persistence is built on consistency. It's about doing what needs to be done, even when the motivation isn't there. It's about pushing through the moments when your energy wanes and continuing to show up, even when you feel like quitting. Those who persist are the ones who continue to take action, even when it feels like the rewards are far off. They understand that success is not a sprint, it's a marathon. Another critical part of persistence is adaptability. The road to success is rarely a straight line. There will be detours, unexpected challenges, and circumstances beyond your control. But the most successful people are the ones who can adapt to changing conditions without losing sight of their ultimate goal. Persistence doesn't mean doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. It means learning from your mistakes, adjusting your strategy, and trying again with more knowledge and more experience. If one path doesn't work, you find another. If one method fails, you innovate and improve. Persistence is about being flexible enough to change your approach while keeping your eyes on the prize. There's also a deeper emotional aspect to persistence. When the journey gets tough, when it feels like you're not getting the results you want, it's easy to get discouraged. But this is where passion plays a critical role. Passion fuels persistence. If you're passionate about your goal, if you truly care about what you trade, about what you achieve, you'll find the strength to continue, even when the going gets tough. Passion provides the energy that powers persistence. It's what makes you keep going when your body is tired, when your mind is filled with doubt, and when the obstacles in your path seem insurmountable. Passion is the fire that keeps you moving forward when everything else says stop. The idea of persistence is also deeply tied to your sense of purpose. When you're clear on why you're doing something, when your actions are driven by purpose and not just ambition, persistence becomes easier. Your purpose gives you the emotional strength to keep going. It reminds you why it's worth it, why you need to keep moving even when things are hard. Your purpose will keep you grounded when you feel like giving up, and it will remind you that the pain of the journey is temporary, but the reward of reaching your destination will be worth it. Persistence is also about overcoming the urge to quit in the face of discomfort. Everyone has a breaking point, a moment when they feel they can't take it anymore. But those who succeed are the ones who push past that breaking point. They understand that true growth happens outside the comfort zone. They know that to achieve something extraordinary, they have to face discomfort, face uncertainty, and face fear head on. Persistence means stepping into the unknown and staying the course, even when the easy option is to turn around and walk away. It's important to remember that no one achieves greatness without facing resistance. The more significant the goal, the more resistance you will encounter. But resistance is not a sign that you're on the wrong path. In fact, it's often a sign that you're on the right one. The greater the challenge, the greater the reward. If it were easy, everyone would do it. Persistence requires that you embrace the struggle, embrace the difficulty, and embrace the discomfort that comes with pursuing something worthwhile. Lastly, persistence is about believing in the process, even when the results aren't immediate. Too often we want quick results. We want instant gratification, but lasting success doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. It takes effort. It takes persistence. And sometimes the results don't show up right away. But if you keep going, if you keep putting in the work, you will start to see the fruits of your labor. It may take longer than you expect, but that doesn't mean it's not working. Trust the process, keep your head down, and continue putting one foot in front of the other. Eventually, your persistence will pay off, even if it doesn't happen according to your timeline. So when the road gets tough, when the obstacles seem insurmountable, remember persistence is key. It's the one thing that will carry you through the hardest times. It's the one thing that will keep you going when everything else tells you to stop. It's the belief that no matter how many times you fall, you will get back up and keep moving. Because the people who persist are the ones who succeed. And if you keep going, no matter what, you will succeed too. Failure is an inevitable part of life, one that everyone experiences at some point, yet it is something that many people fear. Society often paints failure as something negative, something to be avoided at all costs, something that signifies weakness or incompetence. But in reality, failure is not something to be feared or avoided. It's a stepping stone, a crucial part of the journey toward success. Those who truly achieve greatness don't get there by avoiding failure. Instead, they embrace it, learn from it, and use it as fuel to push forward. At first glance, failure may seem like the end of the road. It can feel like everything you've worked for is slipping away, like you're not good enough or capable enough. It can trigger feelings of self-doubt and discouragement. And yes, those feelings are real. Failure can sting, and the pain of not reaching your goals can feel overwhelming. But failure is never the end. In fact, it is often the very beginning of the path to something greater. Failure is an opportunity to grow, to recalibrate, and to push harder toward your goals. When you fail, you are not defeated, you are simply being redirected. Think about some of the most successful people in the world. Behind every one of their accomplishments lies a trail of failures, missteps, and setbacks. Whether it's in the world of business, sports, the arts, or any other field, the stories of success are almost always rooted in stories of failure. Take Thomas Edison, for example, who famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Edison failed countless times before he eventually perfected the light bulb, but he didn't see those failures as personal shortcomings or as signs to wear out. He saw them as part of the process. Each failure brought him one step closer to success. In the same way, the world's greatest athletes didn't get to the top by never losing. Michael Jordan, widely considered the greatest basketball player of all time, was cut from his high school basketball team. He missed more than 9,000 shots in his career and lost nearly 300 games. But he didn't let those failures define him. Instead, he used them to fuel his drive. In his own words, "I failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." His failures were essential to his success because they taught him valuable lessons and gave him the resilience he needed to keep going. Failure teaches you things that success never will. It teaches you about your limits, your strengths, and your weaknesses. It shows you what doesn't work so you can adjust and try again. When you succeed without facing failure, you often don't have the same depth of understanding of what it truly takes to achieve your goals. You might not develop the mental toughness, the resilience, and the determination that come from having to overcome obstacles. Failure sharpens you, hardens you, and refines your approach. It strips away the illusion of perfection and shows you the reality of what it takes to succeed. But in order to benefit from failure, you need to approach it with the right mindset. Too many people see failure as a personal flaw, as evidence that they're not good enough or that they'll never succeed. This kind of thinking is toxic and will only keep you stuck. When you fail, you need to separate your identity from the outcome. Failing at something doesn't make you a failure as a person. It simply means that you haven't yet found the right way to succeed. It's a lesson, not a judgment. The difference between those who succeed and those who give up is how they respond to failure. Do you let it defeat you, or do you use it as a stepping stone to learn, grow, and improve? One of the most powerful lessons failure teaches is resilience, the ability to bounce back from setbacks and keep going. Resilience is the foundation of long-term success. Life will inevitably throw challenges your way, and no matter how hard you try, you will fail at some point. But how you respond to that failure is what will determine whether you succeed in the long run. It's not about avoiding failure, but about learning how to rise above it and keep moving forward. Failure also fosters creativity and innovation. When you're faced with a setback, it forces you to think outside the box, to find new solutions and alternatives. Some of the world's most groundbreaking innovations came from failure. Post-it notes, for example, were invented when a 3M scientist was trying to create a super strong adhesive and instead ended up with a weak one. But instead of seeing this as a failure, the scientists saw potential and developed the Post-it notes that we use today. Without that failure, the product might never have existed. Failure pushes you to try things differently, and that mindset is where breakthroughs happen. Another important aspect of failure is that it teaches you patience. Success takes time, and failure reminds you that nothing happens overnight. In today's world, where instant gratification is common, failure forces you to slow down and appreciate the process. It teaches you that there are no shortcuts to success. The path to achievement is often long and winding and is full of obstacles. Patience is a key virtue that failure instills in those who persist. Failure also forces you to become more self-aware. When you face setbacks, you have no choice but to look inward. You have to ask yourself hard questions. What went wrong? Why didn't I succeed? What can I do differently next time? This self-reflection is a powerful tool for growth. It helps you recognize your mistakes, identify areas where you need to improve, and better understand your own capabilities. Without failure, there would be little opportunity for self-reflection. And without self-reflection, there is little opportunity for growth. There's a misconception that failure is something that only happens to the unlucky or those who aren't skilled enough. But failure doesn't discriminate. It happens to everyone, no matter their background, skill level, or experience. What matters is not the failure itself, but how you deal with it. It's how you pick yourself up and keep going that determines your future success. Everyone fails. What sets the successful apart is that they don't let failure define them. If we could remove the fear of failure from our lives, we'd unlock an incredible potential within ourselves. Fear of failure often holds people back from taking risks, from stepping out of their comfort zones, and from pursuing their dreams. The fear of failing stops many people from even trying. But the truth is, you will never truly succeed if you don't allow yourself to fail. Failure is the only way to truly understand the process of success. It teaches you lessons you can't learn any other way. When you fail, you also have an opportunity to build grit, the ability to stick with something even when it's tough. Grit is one of the most important traits of successful people. It's the refusal to give up no matter how difficult things get. Grit is developed through failure because every time you fall and get back up, you become more determined, more persistent, and more resilient. The more you fail and rise again, the stronger your grit becomes. Failure also teaches humility. When you fail, it reminds you that you are not infallible. It keeps you grounded and helps you maintain perspective. It's easy to get caught up in the idea of being perfect, of never making mistakes, but failure reminds you that perfection is unattainable. It teaches you that you can always improve and that there's always room for growth. Humility allows you to approach every failure with an open mind, learning from each experience without letting your ego get in the way. Ultimately, failure is a necessary part of the journey toward success. It is not something to be feared or avoided, but something to be embraced. Every time you fail, you get one step closer to your goal. You learn, you grow, and you become better. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is a key component of success. Without failure, there would be no growth, no innovation, no resilience, and no grit. So instead of fearing failure, embrace it. Use it as a tool to propel yourself forward. Remember that every failure is simply a lesson in disguise, a stepping stone that will lead you to something greater. When you learn to accept failure as a natural part of the process, you open the door to endless possibilities. Success is not defined by never failing, but by how you rise after each failure, how you continue forward with strength, purpose, and determination. Failure is not your enemy, it is your greatest teacher. Sacrifice is often seen as something that requires giving up something valuable, something that feels important to us in the moment for the sake of a greater goal or future reward. It's the act of making difficult choices, of walking away from something we want or desire in order to pursue something bigger, something that matters more in the long term. In a world that often celebrates instant gratification, sacrifice is a concept that's sometimes hard to grasp or accept. But the truth is that sacrifice is a fundamental part of success, growth, and fulfillment. Whether we're talking about personal ambitions, relationships, or larger goals, sacrifice is the bedrock that allows us to build a life of meaning and purpose. When we think about the most successful people in the world, it's easy to assume that they got there by sheer luck or by some fortunate combination of circumstances. But the reality is that behind every success story, there's a period of sacrifice, often unseen and uncelebrated. Sacrifice is the invisible force that propels you forward when the world around you tells you to stop. It's the choice to give up something in the present, knowing that the payoff will come later, perhaps in ways you can't yet fully understand. Every goal worth achieving requires some level of sacrifice. Whether you're striving to build a business, excel in your career, develop a talent, or cultivate meaningful relationships, there's always something you must give up in the process. This might mean sacrificing time, comfort, or even temporary pleasures in order to focus on what truly matters. It might mean saying no to distractions, to short-term satisfaction, and to things that don't align with your long-term vision. Without sacrifice, the journey toward anything significant becomes impossible. Because without it, we remain stuck in the cycle of convenience and complacency. Consider the path of an athlete. To become a champion requires years of training, countless hours spent perfecting their craft, and enduring physical and mental challenges that most people would never be willing to endure. The athlete sacrifices social gatherings, personal time, and even basic comforts to stay focused on the goal. They sacrifice sleep, they sacrifice the easy route, and they sacrifice the fleeting joy of indulgence in favor of a greater achievement down the road. But all of those sacrifices are worth it because the rewards, the glory of victory, the satisfaction of reaching the peak, the fulfillment of hard work and perseverance are far more valuable in the end than the things they had to give up. The same principle applies to entrepreneurs and business owners. Anyone who has ever started a business knows that the early days are filled with sacrifices. You might have to work long hours, often sacrificing evenings, weekends, and vacations just to keep the business afloat. You may have to take risks, make financial sacrifices, and invest every ounce of your energy into building something from the ground up. And there are no guarantees of success. There will be moments when it feels like you're giving up more than you're gaining, when every step forward feels like one step closer to exhaustion. But that's the price of creating something that's yours, something that has the potential to change lives. The sacrifice, though difficult in the moment, becomes the foundation of future success. Sacrifice doesn't always involve grand gestures or monumental decisions. It's often the small, everyday choices that accumulate into something meaningful. In the pursuit of a goal, it might mean choosing to wake up earlier, to spend your free time working on your craft instead of indulging in leisure, or to take a step back from immediate gratification in favor of something more important. It might mean cutting out toxic habits or relationships that hold you back from becoming the best version of yourself. Every choice you make, every time you say no to something that isn't aligned with your vision, becomes an act of sacrifice. Over time, these sacrifices add up and propel you toward your goal. Sacrifice also involves letting go of things you've grown attached to, things you've come to rely on, the things that once brought you comfort. This might mean giving up old habits, a lifestyle that no longer serves you, or relationships that are no longer healthy. In some cases, sacrifice requires cutting ties with the past so you can step into a brighter future. The truth is, you cannot hold on to everything and expect to move forward. Just as a plant must shed its old leaves to make room for new growth, you must let go of the things that are weighing you down in order to evolve and move towards something greater. This can be one of the hardest forms of sacrifice because it often requires a deep level of self-awareness and a willingness to confront the discomfort of change. But in order to grow, you must be willing to leave behind what's familiar and embrace the unknown. Another important aspect of sacrifice is the idea of delayed gratification. In a society that often values instant rewards, delayed gratification is one of the most powerful tools you can cultivate in your pursuit of long-term success. It's about understanding that the path to fulfillment is not always immediate and that sometimes the greatest rewards come to those who are willing to wait. Delayed gratification is what enables you to forgo short-term pleasures for long-term gain. It's about staying focused on the bigger picture, even when the small momentary distractions seem tempting. By sacrificing the now for the later, you build resilience and discipline, two key traits that will serve you well throughout your life. Sacrifice is also an act of discipline. Discipline is the ability to control your impulses, to stay focused on your goals, and to make the toughs required to keep moving forward. Discipline is often uncomfortable because it requires you to do things you don't always feel like doing, to push past your comfort zone, and to maintain consistency in the face of obstacles. It's about making the hard decisions and sticking with them, even when the results aren't immediately visible. Discipline is a form of sacrifice because it often requires you to put aside your immediate desires, to resist temptation, and to choose the harder, longer path toward your goals. But discipline is also what enables you to achieve success. Without it, the sacrifices you make would be meaningless. Discipline turns your sacrifices into actions, into choices that align with your vision and propel you toward your goals. The act of sacrifice is not just about what you give up, it's also about what you gain in return. The rewards of sacrifice are often intangible and not immediate visible. Sacrifice is the sense of purpose, a deeper connection to your goals, and a stronger understanding of who you are and what you're capable of. It cultivates a sense of pride because you know that the path you're walking is one that's worth walking. Sacrifice a sense of ownership over your life and your decisions. It allows you to live with intention rather than being swept away by the currents of convenience and complacency. And over time, the rewards of sacrifice become more than just external achievements. They manifest in the form of inner strength, a sense of fulfillment, and the pride of knowing that you've created something meaningful through your own efforts. One of the most important lessons sacrifice teaches is the ability to value the things that truly matter. In a world that's filled with distractions and superficial goals, sacrifice forces you to clarify what is truly important to you. It helps you focus on your values and your vision so that when tough decisions arise, you have a clear understanding of what you're working toward. Sacrifice teaches you to prioritize, to give your time and energy to the things that will move you closer to your purpose. And in doing so, It frees you from the constant pull of external pressures and allows you to live a life that is truly your own. There's a misconception that sacrifice always means loss, but in reality, sacrifice is often the gateway to something greater. The act of giving up something today for a better tomorrow is not a loss, it's an investment. When you sacrifice short-term pleasure for long-term gain, you are investing in your future self. You are choosing to build something more substantial, something that will bring you more satisfaction and fulfillment in the long run. While the immediate sacrifices might feel painful or uncomfortable, the return on that investment is far greater than what you give up. Sacrifice is a way of honoring your future, of demonstrating that you are willing to put in the work today for a better tomorrow. It's important to recognize that sacrifice is not something that is only required for big life-changing goals. Sacrifice is something that happens every day in the small decisions you make. Every time you choose to work instead of relaxing, every time you say no to something that distracts you from your goals, every time you push through discomfort to reach your next level, you are practicing sacrifice. And though it might feel challenging, each sacrifice compounds over time, building momentum and bringing you closer to your aspirations. Success is not the result of one big sacrifice, it's the result of countless small ones that add up over time. In the end, the power of sacrifice lies in its ability to transform us. It forces us to grow, to build character, and to develop a deeper sense of purpose. Sacrifice teaches us that nothing worth having comes without effort, and that true fulfillment comes from the things we work hardest for. It's not about giving up things just for the sake of it, but about choosing to give up things that are in conflict with your greater purpose. The sacrifices you make today lay the foundation for the success and happiness you will experience tomorrow. And that is a powerful truth, one that holds the key to unlocking your fullest potential. Resilience in the face of doubt is one of the most powerful attributes a person can cultivate. It is the ability to maintain your determination, your strength, and your sense of purpose when the world around you tells you to quit. It is the ability to stay grounded when uncertainty looms large and when self-doubt creeps in like an unwelcome visitor. Doubt, whether it comes from external sources or from within, can be paralyzing. It can make you question your worth, your decisions, and your abilities. But resilience is the force that allows you to overcome that doubt, to push through the fear, and to continue on the path toward your goals. It's what separates those who ultimately succeed from those who let doubt dictate their actions and outcomes. Every journey toward success is fraught with moments of doubt. If it were easy, everyone would do it. Whether you're pursuing a dream, taking on a new challenge, or simply trying to make a change in your life, doubt will always show up. It's inevitable. Doubt can come in many forms: fear of failure, fear of the unknown, fear of not being good enough. It can manifest in the voices of others who question your choices, or in the whispers in your own mind that tell you it's too hard or that you'll never make it. But the truth is, doubt is just a feeling, a temporary cloud in your mind. It does not define who you are, and it certainly does not have to define your future. The key to overcoming doubt is resilience, the ability to persist in the face of fear, uncertainty, and negative thoughts. Resilience is not about pretending that doubt doesn't exist. It's not about denying the feelings of fear or insecurity that arise when you face challenges. Instead, resilience is about acknowledging those feelings without letting them control you. It's about recognizing doubt as a natural part of the process and then choosing to keep moving forward despite it. The most resilient people are not the ones who never experience doubt, but the ones who learn how to rise above it, to use it as fuel for growth, and to turn it into an opportunity for strength. One of the greatest tools for building resilience is perspective. When doubt arises, it's easy to fall into the trap of seeing it as an insurmountable obstacle, as a sign that you're not cut out for what you're trying to achieve. But doubt is rarely a reflection of your actual abilities. Instead, it's often a product of fear, fear of the unknown, fear of rejection, fear of failure. Resilience allows you to see doubt for what it truly is, a signal that you're stepping out of your comfort zone, that you're pushing yourself beyond your limits, and that you're on the verge of something new. When you reframe doubt as a sign of growth rather than a sign of weakness, you can face it with a sense of confidence and determination, knowing that it's part of the journey, not the end of it.